All right, welcome to the Tuesday show. Sorry it's a little late. My name is Ultra David. This is James Chen.
How's everybody going?
It's definitely my fault again. As yesterday, I didn't show up for Level 3 Focus. Not even that long of a story. I forgot to take my car out of the parking garage that I need to take it out of. It closes at 6. I need to get my car then and move it. And I usually do that. But I didn't do that. So my car was caught until I picked it up today.
Okay.
So,
Well,
all right.
we should be going. Hopefully everyone can hear us and stuff. So no tech problems here, right? So okay.
Before we get really into things, another bad way to start the show, just like we did with last week. Another fighting game community member lost his life, Patrick Collins from Northern California.
Right, a Tekken player, and nicknamed "I Love Your Mom."
Yeah.
And again, another fantastic person in the community. In fact, if you go to his Twitter account, the very last tweet that he sent out was, "I'm at the store and some kid is trying to fix a broken joystick, so I gave him the one in my car." That's seriously the last tweet that he sent out.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's the kind of guy that he was. So,
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Apparently, it was a severe sickle cell issue that can happen to a lot of people.
Right.
That's a scary kind of thing to happen. So, hearts go out to his family, his close friends, everybody who knew him up in North.
He's married and has two. Mm-hmm. He was married and had 2 kids too.
Right.
So yeah. But they're gonna do a special event for him, just like they did for Nelson,
right.
At Super Arcade. So that'll be coming up. I think the 18th this weekend. They're gonna just play a bunch of Tekken on that weekend, and the pot will go directly to donations for the family. So yeah, check that out. I'm sure they'll probably try to sell some stuff on the stream for money to go to the cost as well. So
yeah. Well, that's a crappy way to start things out. I hope that we don't have to do the same next week, because 2 in a row is already way too many.
Yeah.
So. Okay, let's get on to talking about, I guess, more, happier stuff. Talk about Defend the North first.
Mm-hmm.
We're also going to talk about a few other things. There are going to be things like when to ban a character, the CJ and Flux BS, Bailey and so forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with Defend the North. It was New York's first major, I don't know whether ever, but certainly in a long time.
On stream, Spooky was saying the guy who's running Defend the North has run tournaments before in New York.
Okay.
So he was saying this is technically not the first major, but
okay.
It's definitely, there hasn't been anything in New York for a long time, just because venue fees
right.
in New York are ridiculous, right? So this is the first one in a while, so definitely a lot of people excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, if people don't know, it's super expensive to run tournaments, well, to just rent out a venue in most major cities. That's why most tournaments aren't in major cities. Even things like SoCal Regionals, it's in Irvine rather than LA. UFGT is not in Chicago, it's in the suburbs, things like that. So not easy to run one in New York. I heard that it had major level numbers. I don't think that there were that many people who traveled from outside of the east and north. But the people from that area, I guess, traveled in pretty strong numbers, because I heard numbers like 200 or 300 for Street Fighter and Marvel.
Dude, that's really impressive, actually. 200 for those games. Yeah, that's pretty good. And the other thing too is there's a lot of good players in New York who don't get to travel a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we actually got to see a lot of people, even playing in a lot of these matches, so it was really good to get to see some of these guys, especially considering what happened with the results.
Well, okay, let's get into the results. We'll start off with Street Fighter 4.
Yep.
Let's go through the top 8. It was, starting with 8th place or 7th place, was Arturo Sanchez, a.k.a. Sabin, with Dalsum and Rose. Then Sanford Kelly with Sagat and Oni. Pies Smug with Dudley. Chris G with Sakura. Knuckle Dew with Guile. Dominion also with Guile. K-Brad with Cammy. And then up there at number 1 out of these couple hundred people in this tournament was Pies Zeus with Vega.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah, that's really impressive, and I love the representation from guys who don't get to travel that often. Like you were just saying, Zeus is one of those guys. Smug is one of those guys. Looking down the list here a little bit, Javits defeat Lee, Jiran, Let's see, Happy Medicine,
Pai Chin.
Yeah, Pai Chin is another guy. Remy Blue is another guy. Alex Smith. Those guys don't travel nationally that much, at least anymore in some of their cases, but for some of them ever. So that's really cool that there was a major in that area that they could really rep.
Yeah, and it was taken by a Vega player. And, you know, watching that, I mean, Zeus played out of his mind. I mean, he did super well. It was so fun to watch him play.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was Sanford Kelly who just tweeted, so Vega's won a major, Balrog's won a major, Sagat's won a major. What's wrong with Bison, dude?
It's not even that he's one of the 4 bosses that hasn't won a major. He's one of, I don't know, I feel like half the cast has won a major.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's even an exaggeration.
But seriously, he needs to retire out of Shadaloo and let one of the other guys take over. Because, dude, this is just embarrassing. But yeah.
Yeah, so watching Zeus versus K-Brad, Vega versus Cammy, I know I've heard you talk about this matchup where you think that it's pretty even.
Yeah, and Vega players usually get very mad at me for that, yeah.
But I actually looked up on YouTube matches of them beforehand because I was looking for that match to see whether it had gone online yet. It's not online yet, at least when I looked. But there were a couple matches from previous tournaments. And actually Zeus won.
Yeah.
So this is not like a fluke kind of thing.
No, I mean basically it's like a lot of Cammy's matches, right? She has trouble getting in against a defensive character, but when she gets in, she destroys you. Like when you watch the matches, it was always just like whittle away, and Zeus would win barely, and then K-Brad would get a perfect.
Right.
And then Zeus would like fight, and then K-Brad would get a perfect. Right. I mean, that's just basically how the match goes, right? Yeah. But it is hard for Cammy to get in it sometimes. And then, dude, I know, like, I've said this a million times on stream, so just let me brag one time.
Okay.
I've always said, to defeat Cammy, watch her jump, because her footsies aren't very good. So she has to jump, and all her power comes from roundhouse or dive kick. And so when she jumps, you jump in the air after her, and you hit her, because if she dive kicks and pauses in the air, you can kick her. Or if she hits you, you take minimal damage instead of eating gigantoid combo, right? And that's exactly what Zeus did. He air threw him, he jumped strong him, and then he even
jump medium kicked. He used slide to go under.
Yeah.
He had a lot of really good options, and he just used them so perfectly. So in winners finals, he won 3-1, and then in grand finals, K-Brad won the first set 3-2, and I think I feel like he won the last couple in a row in that, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And then Zeus won the last set 3-1 also.
Yeah. So good stuff, dude. Good stuff to
definitely
Zeus.
Good
that
stuff.
Was awesome.
I mean, check out this top 8. It's Vega, Cammy, Guile, Sakura, Dudley, Sagat, Oni, Dalsum, and Rose. So only one repeat character.
Well, obviously, Guile is overpowered, right?
Yeah. Dude, we say this. It feels like every major with He 2012. It's so balanced. It's remarkable.
It was really interesting to me, though, to watch NuckleDu versus Dominion, because there's a little bit of a concession there in that match, because NuckleDu switched to Cammy to try to beat Dominion.
That's right.
And I found that really interesting because, I mean, these two have obviously run into each other a lot. And, a lot of the majors are in East Coast, right? So the fact that there's two amazing Guiles might be an explanation why we haven't had a Bison win a major.
Oh, wow. Well, there was that one time where it was Guile, then Happy Medicine was third place.
Happy Medicine has said he always loses to NuckleDu or Dominion, right? So, unfortunately, one of our best Bisons just has this barrier in his way. But it was just really interesting for me to see NuckleDu go away and to go to Cammy, So it was just, I don't know. I feel like NuckleDu might want to just try to practice the Guile matchup a little more, because it's a mirror match. Obviously, no one person has an advantage, and when you're kind of ducking away from your character, that's kind of not a good sign. So
they have a little bit different styles too.
Oh yeah.
Dominion is definitely more defensive, and NuckleDu plays more offense with that character. So I love seeing their mirror matches actually, because you can see that even though they have the same tools and the same projectile, they use it in totally different ways.
Yeah, it's not even like boring Guile like that infamous Super Turbo match, right? There's that really famous Super Turbo match, and so and it's not like, even when we always say Justin and Ricky play different Rufuses, but dude, remember that one time they played and they switched costumes to troll us and we couldn't tell? So
no, you know what it reminds me of actually is the classic SBO match between Muteki and Kurahashi. Guiles, where one of them is defensive, one of them is offensive,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like it goes down to the final round, like actual final round. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool top 8 to watch. Did you catch any of the team tournament?
No, I did not. I did not manage to catch
I did. I caught a little bit of that. I caught the last 3, I guess, teams. First place was Team EMP with Jaron, Knuckledew, Sanford Kelly, Dominion, and K-Brad. That's a really good team. Team Pi with Smug, City of Brass, Poem, Chin, and Zeus.
Dude, that's
also a really good team for sure.
That's definitely one of those teams that's like on the rise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So much on the rise. That team's exciting. So.
And then Team Next Level was Ruhit with Hakan, Defeatly with Cammy, Min, Honda, Arturo with Rose, and Chris Hu with Oni. Although on the final day, Chris Hu couldn't make it for whatever reason for the team tournament, and so they were forced to fight with only 4 people.
That's 2 tournaments in a row that he's...
it is. I don't know what the circumstances were for this one. Hopefully nothing too dire.
Right.
But as a result, there were only 4 people on that team. So it was really fun to watch, actually, if you go back and watch the archives, because Arturo is commentating beforehand, and he's talking about how his team is just going to get destroyed because they only have 4 guys, and it's like, are we even going to bother playing this? We're just going to get ripped up. And he's like trying to arrange, the team members, you know what I mean? And so they send up Ruhit first because they're like, send him Hakan, he'll probably lose. Yeah. And then he beat Smug, he beat City of Brass, he beat Poem, and then he lost, and then Defeatly lost, Min lost, and Arturo lost.
So the guy they threw up first did all the work.
Yeah, it was hilarious actually.
That's sad.
No, but I wanted to go over the team tournament because I wanted to talk about Team Pi because Arturo mentioned this on the air that they are a major reason for kind of the resuscitation or at least keeping alive of the New York Street Fighter 4 scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
They've been having a lot of gatherings. Arturo has had a bunch of those videos up on his channel. Yeah. Always good stuff to watch, and it's always really competitive. And so I was really looking forward to seeing how those players did, and they did great in both the team tournament and also in the singles tournament. So good job to those guys for doing what they need to do for their local scene.
I mean, you look at it, Zeus obviously a Vega player, Smug a Dudley player, who else is on there? Chin, Cody played.
Poem with Rog, City Brass with Makoto, and then Lee Chung with Hakan, although I heard he wasn't there.
Right. Dude, that's just an exciting team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's just like a lot of these characters that you don't expect to see a lot. It's always fun to watch Vegas and Cody's and Makoto's, run rampant, obviously. That's why Haitani is so fun to watch, right? It's just those certain characters. So, I don't know. They're like one of my favorite teams right now, for sure.
Totally. I hear that. Let's talk about Marvel now.
Okay.
Won by Chris G, but let's go through the rest of the top 8, I guess.
Spoiler!
I know, yeah.
Chris G won.
Exactly, yeah.
He said he didn't lose a single game during that whole tournament. During the whole
not
tournament.
A match, a game.
Yeah,
a game.
Just not a game. He did not a game.
Yeah, okay.
Not a game.
7th place was CJ Showstopper, then Punisher. That was a cool team. Hawkeye, Iron Fist, and Rocket Raccoon. Winrich, good job to that guy. He's a young person, doing well. Then Flux, Ray, Flocker, and like I said, Chris G.
Yep.
Up there at the top. Did you watch any of this?
I watched little matches here and there, and I did watch the last match between Chris G and Flocker.
Okay.
And I mostly had it on in the background while I was like running around doing stuff. So,
okay.
But I did see Chris G Flocker, and it was just standard Chris G blowing people up. And shout outs to them for both using their #1 teams.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Right away, right?
Good job. I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Figuring things out. I watched just like the start of it. I think I watched up until the CJ versus Flux thing happened.
Oh, right.
And then I don't know, got busy or something came up, or just lack of desire. I don't remember which. Like I said, I really liked watching Punisher play.
Okay.
That team is really interesting. Hawkeye, Iron Fist assist, Rocket on the anchor. It was really cool to see. I don't know. It was good. I don't know what else to say. I didn't see any of Dang, which kind of makes me sad because I always like watching that team. But
yeah, I mean, really, the main thing to take away from this is that Chris G is nigh unstoppable in this game right now, and it's it's a little discouraging, I guess, in because you don't always want all the tournaments. I mean, it's cool to see when someone's dominating, right? Like when Justin was dominating Marvel 2, it was a story, right? Chris G dominating Marvel, it's a story.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing about it is it just if the ending to a tournament is such a foregone conclusion, it can be a little bit underwhelming. In fact, I don't want to blame Chris G, but I do feel like
he's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. But we've talked about this last week, how the interest in Marvel seems to be waning, right? I almost feel like that might contribute to it because any tournament that he goes into, everyone's like, well, Chris G's going to win again, you know? So, I don't know.
Could be. Okay, the Injustice tournament was awesome, like it always is, but I don't think anybody watched, which happens to. It makes me sad. Rico won it with Black Adam and Aquaman, then Darth Arma with Batman. Rio showed up and played Manhunter, and he got 3rd place, which was great.
Right.
Dragon God with Black Adam, Gur with Bane, KDZ, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Sinestro. I didn't see him play Sinestro. Revolver with Lex, and Mr. Aquaman with Ares.
It's just so funny to me that Gur uses Bane. I mean, are those two related in any way?
I don't know what the story is, but that is a perfect name for Bane. Yeah, definitely.
Because the reason why is because me and my friends have an inside joke. Because remember how Bane was so poorly portrayed in Batman Forever, I think it was?
Oh, God, yeah.
With Poison Ivy. But there's one point where they mention Wayne Enterprises, and it cuts to Bane. He goes, "Arr!" And it cuts away. So every time me and my friends say the word Bane, we always go, "Arr!" like that. And so, I don't know. It's just...
I don't know what the story is, but
it's like too perfect for me. But anyways,
it's a cool name regardless. Even if he wasn't playing Bane, there were a couple of matches that were not in top 8 that I really recommend people check out. Or actually, no, maybe it was in top 8. I forget when Revolver versus Rio happened. Was that in top 8? Let's see. I don't know. Anyway, and it was so awesome. It was like such a hype match, and the ending was amazing, and they were both like zoning or playing offense. Two pretty capable characters.
My bad, guys. They were saying that was Batman and Robin, not
oh,
Batman
really?
Forever. My bad. But question though, I know a lot of people have been talking about, that Martian Manhunter was a really dominating character, right? Like a lot of Injustice players are saying on paper he should be like he's almost too good, right? I mean, from what you saw, how did it look?
I mean, he is a really good character. I think that is overblown. I don't think that people are really talking about that anymore. That was a couple months ago, I think, already. He has some abusable stuff, single-hitting wake-ups, and you can... I don't know. I mean, there are things to abuse about him, but he is certainly a really good character.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
But especially after what's happened in the top 8s of some recent majors with characters that people really slept on doing really well, I feel like there's a lot to figure out.
Right.
In that game.
Okay.
Killer Instinct happened. King of Fighters happened. Romance went out there and he won it. I didn't know that. Chris G got 2nd place. Pachu KOF got 3rd.
Yeah, it's still amazing to me because I don't even think Chris G touches that game ever.
Yeah, I don't.
Ever.
I don't think so.
And he's getting 2nd place, dude. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Killer Instinct, I guess, was CD Jr. with Sadira, Jago, and Shadow Jago, which is just Jago. Rico with Thunder. Wow, good job, Rico. 1st place in Injustice, 2nd place in this.
Nice.
Apollo with Thunder and Jago, then Dream Crusher with Saberwolf, Dusty Nova with Thunder and Saberwolf, Chris G with Saberwolf, Jor-El F with Sadira, and Toolman with Jago. I mean, there are only 6 characters, so you're going to see a lot of repeats. It's
for
a big surprise.
For sure. I did not get to see any of that.
Yeah,
so
I didn't either.
I didn't really get to.
I didn't either. Let's see. Tekken, Fighting GM won it. Nice. The game, then Elite.
Yeah, the game. I think that's Fernando, I think it is. And I feel bad for him because he won an Evo East a long time ago, and I have the footage like on mini DV tapes, and he's always wanted me to rip him, so he.
Oh, you haven't?
And put him on YouTube, so he has like evidence, and I've never done it.
That's
so
funny,
I apologize,
dude.
man. I still remember. I will do it one of these days. I promised him. So
James. Blazblue was won by SKD with Ragna and Kokonoe. Necro, Undine. I never knew how to pronounce that. Can I say that? That name, Undine. It's just one of those things. I recently realized that Lake Hylia is actually pronounced Lake Hylia. I never knew that.
Really?
Yeah,
I always called it Hylia. I did call it Hylia.
Okay, fine.
I did call it Hylia.
It turns out everybody called it Hylia, and I was the only one who didn't know. I felt like an idiot. Anyway, mine
is
with
Undine
Lychee.
a real name or something? I've never.
That is from Secret of Mana.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
It's just one of those things. I don't know. It's an actual word too? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just looked it up.
Okay.
The Mellow Hype with new
Yeah.
Blazblue. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then obviously Guilty Gear. We had a Bridget win first place. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. But this is plus R now, so.
Yeah.
And then Alex Smith, who we mentioned earlier, getting second place with May, and the A3 Religion with Johnny, and Minus with Eno. There you go.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know how it's pronounced.
Hey, some people are actually sitting there saying that they said Hylia as well, right? So.
Somebody got mad at me on Twitter. They were like, "You got to look at the katakana. It makes it clear that it's pronounced Hylia."
Right, because you're obviously very well versed in katakana right now, right?
Yeah. But it's like Hyrule and Hylia.
Right. That was kind of, I think, why I went that way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean, you guys have to remember you're talking to the guy who still calls them up super and like dragon punch and like axe kick and stuff.
Up super.
Yeah, you won't like rush punch instead of like grab instead of karaksara.
One time, I met somebody at some party who claimed to be a big Street Fighter fan, and I was like, "Oh, I really like Street Fighter too." And he was like, he was like, "Yeah, I picked Ryu, and I I said something about a fireball rather than Hadoken, and the guy was like, "It's called a Hadoken." I was like, "Come on, dude." I don't think you can call into question my Street Fighter cred. I feel like I'm okay in Street Fighter cred.
So if you're like, do the donkey kick, somebody'd be like, use the Jodan Shoguto Gary. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the right term. It's something like that in any case, but yeah.
Well, you want to take a break?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Cool.
All right, we will be right back.
At Defend the North, the tournament that we were just talking about, there was an incident between CJ, Showstopper, and Flux. Did you get to see this?
I did not see it. I heard a lot about it. I saw like a minor sort of replay-ish on it. From what I understand, and people in the stream can correct me if I'm wrong here. Yeah. CJ apparently was in the middle of a combo. A button got stuck, so the combo dropped.
Yeah, it was like launched into... I forget if you pressed one M and then not the second M, but like it might have just been no M. He was doomed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he dropped a combo, and then during the course of the match, he asked Flux if he could pause the game and check the button, and Flux apparently didn't hear it right, said something back, which wasn't yes, but that was how it was interpreted. And so CJ paused the game, and Flux took it. And so CJ apparently got very mad because he thought he was like, okay, you can go ahead and pause it. And so that erupted into some random drama.
Yeah, he was mad. But good job to the commentators at the time for like talking to him and just being like, it's your fault.
Yeah. Did they say that?
Nice.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Steven and Yipes were on there, and they were just like, it's your fault, dude.
I mean, some people even pointed out that CJ took a game against Wentinel at EVO when Wentinel paused on him before. And then I remember there was the one tournament where there was the big drama with F-Champ and the team tournament that someone paused against Texas or something.
I think it was against Maryland.
Yeah. Oh, it was against Maryland? Yeah, they tried to take that as well, right? So, I mean, to be honest with you, look... The only time I've ever seen, like, arcade matches really stopped is when one time I remember, I think it was Vi, hit a button so hard the button literally flew out of the machine. Like, the spring on it, like, somehow the button just didn't latch on anymore, and the button just went, whoo! And so that was like, well, obviously the button doesn't work now, so they stopped it and they fixed it. Yeah. But, man, there were just times where you just be like, I'm blocking, I swear, in the arcade. And so and then you had to wait till the match was over before you say something. That's just
Right.
generally how it works, right?
Right.
If something is broken, you wait till the match is over. I mean, was it the last match?
It was the last one.
Okay.
It was his last game. It was the last game.
So in other words, he couldn't necessarily
And
wait.
CJ was on the winning combo, I want to point out.
Oh, okay.
It's CJ's fault, dude. Sorry. if your stick screws up, it's your fault. That's it.
Yeah.
If I were in Flux's position and I heard if I comprehended what CJ had asked me, I would have said sure, and then if he paused it, I would have taken the game.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You totally would have did that.
Yeah.
You 100% would have said, yeah, you can go ahead and pause.
Oh.
I win.
Yeah. Oh man, back in my hockey days, I got away with some craziness. Yeah.
Okay, LeBron James, dude. You're going to be like the guy. You've heard of the new trend, LeBroning now, right?
No.
Where two people are walking by, and if the guy barely nudges you, like, you just, like, completely collapse to the floor as if someone bowled you over, because that's what LeBron does in all of the basketball games, so.
People got to realize that the rules are not just the ones that are written down. Like, that's not all that the game is. The game is more than that. And you got to know how to play it. Anyway.
So Broly Legs asks if it was 2-2 and he dropped his controller, would you take it?
Yeah, why not?
Damn!
I wouldn't want you to feel like I'm treating you any differently.
All right, good answer. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. So.
Yeah. I don't even think that's... So, I don't think that that's scumbaggy. Okay, maybe the saying you can pause it and not pause it. Maybe that's scumbaggy. But to take a game where the opponent pauses just in general...
Oh, yeah.
That's not scumbaggy. That's supposed to be the default.
Yeah. That's the rule.
That's the rule.
That
the
is
game.
the rule.
And sometimes players will go against that rule and be okay with the opponent pausing for whatever reason. I don't know why that's even allowed, frankly, but that's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But the actual rule is supposed to be if there's a pause, whoever paused it loses.
Yeah, guaranteed.
That's it.
That's the rule. And the rule is in place for a reason. Because when the situation happens, there's a de facto outcome.
Yeah.
There should be no question.
Right.
There should be no argument. If you pause and the other guy says, I'm taking the game, even if he says you can pause,
Yeah.
you can take the game.
Like, it's a terrible idea for a competition to have a rule that's negotiable by the two people in the competition. It's not a good idea, and so that's not the rule. But for some reason, people think that is. So, I don't know, it's stupid.
So someone asked in the chat, if you took that game, would you pop off? Yeah, man, you paused. You're done. You're done.
I'd do whatever I needed to do to sell it. If I felt like I needed to sell it, then yeah. But probably not.
Man,
Probably not.
awesome.
I'd probably just walk away. Anything
man,
goes in
awesome.
competition.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
competition.
so, unfortunately, all that drama, and apparently CJ's still angry about it. They
That's
even,
too
like,
bad.
tried to call into FGTV. I think even Flux called in, and they all had, like, drama or whatever like
Yeah,
that.
those
but-
are both really nice guys in most situations.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's too bad if they don't get along because of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really rough, too, because CJ, obviously, he's been the butt of a joke in NorCal for so long, right? But he's gotten so good now. I mean, at NEC,
Yeah.
he finished top 8, and here he's finishing top 8.
If he had hit that combo, he would have ended up at least 5th, I guess. Mm-hmm. Ended up 7th, so what?
Because you said you would walk away, and Broly said, wow, walk away. Man, good stuff, Broly. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
but it is too bad for him. It would have been great if he could have finished higher. But I mean that's the breaks. You got to make sure that your stick is in working condition. That's the rule.
Yep. Okay, so on to, I guess, a different topic.
Yeah, let's
here.
switch gears entirely.
So on Twitter, I've been seeing a little bit of debating between different camps on this Kokonoe
Yeah.
in Blazblue. Is considered the best character in the game. Very powerful. People are developing tech to fight her, but regardless, she is still one of the best characters. Has like a couple of really super cheap tactics. And so now there's the discussion of banning Kokonoe. And traditionally, in fighting game history, unless the character was obviously overpowered and broken, such as Akuma and ST, no one was ever banned. Right? But this is a different day and age now when there's sponsorships and prize money and streams and all sorts of stuff on the line here. And even in game surviving, having the community grow is an issue, right? So it's a different day and age now. So there is an argument that maybe banning Kokonoe is correct. So what's your take on this?
Well, I don't know that I can speak to the specific situation because I'm just getting into BlazBlue as of like a week and a half ago. And I still haven't played more than a couple of matches online, and I'm like basically just learning what moves are and stuff. So I just downloaded Kokonoe like 2 days ago. I haven't even tried her. So I don't know that I can speak to that because I just don't know enough.
Okay.
As far as the idea of banning a character in that situation, I think it's an interesting point that you bring up about it being a different time now.
Yeah.
The thing that I think makes me most reconsider my old position, which was don't ban anything unless it's
right.
like ST Akuma level, is the prize money situation and the sponsorship situation and the viewing situation. Because all of those are important things nowadays. I mean, obviously the players are the people who play. I think are personally more important than people who watch. That's who I would rather cater to. But the people who watch are important too. So, I mean, I think that in addition to the normal complaints that everybody has always had with characters like Third Strike Chun, which is that they make the game less interesting to play, there are now these other considerations too. So I understand more the idea of banning a character. I mean, she hasn't been out that long, right? So it's not like there has been that much time to learn how to fight against her.
Right.
And maybe it will be that she isn't as crazy as she currently seems. And like I said, I don't know about this particular situation.
Right.
But that could be the case, for all I know. I did see some people arguing that it might be the case. Nerd Josh was arguing that it might be that case on Twitter.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing is, if you have someone like Nerd Josh who's talking about it, who has gone through the history of fighting games, if he's saying that maybe she should be banned, it might be.
Well, no, he was saying that we should hold off on that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Because he thought that we needed more time to really know.
I see. Yeah.
To really know. I thought Fubarduck had an interesting perspective on it too, which was that maybe in time she will be not that OP, but this game doesn't have that long a life.
Interesting.
Right, so he expects that when the new Guilty Gear comes out, when the new Persona comes out, that this game will pretty much be left by the wayside. Maybe that's true, I don't know.
So maybe ban her now so we can have more interesting
Right, in the 6 months between now and then, maybe... so I thought that was an interesting perspective on it too.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some people in the chat can explain to me, but... Because we've had really good characters before.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't always turn out to be the best, right? So let's talk about... I always tell the story. Alpha 3 first came out. I wanted to ban Exism Dulcim because he was broken. And nowadays, if you play Exism Dulcim, you're just a buffoon, right? That is such a mistake, right? Because Aism and Exism Dulcim are way better than he is, right? And so is like half the rest of the cast, right?
Aism and Vism?
Yeah, AM and Vism. And then... let's talk about Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Who was the person that we all hated at first? Was Level 4 Dark Wesker. We all said that he was just the most horrid character. And Viscant was like, he's not even that good. And everyone yelled at him. And now everyone's like, he's not even that good.
Well, so I asked people on Twitter. Well, I guess I asked Fubarduck in particular. How this character fits in his opinion with other high top tiers, and his response was that she's kind of in HDR Akuma tier.
Oh, really?
Which is really high. So HDR Akuma, if you're not familiar with it, is not ST Akuma tier. He's not that ridiculous, right? But he's still pretty ridiculous,
right? And Damdai actually went out and proved that because he just basically opened a Kumite online and was like, come at me, bro, and he just bodied everybody, and he won like a couple
He won majors, he produced videos about how important this was, and so people were saying, look at the example of Damdai. This is how you show a character should be banned. Right. Win majors, show us the evidence, and it hasn't happened yet. We just read off the winners of BlazBlue of WCP. at Defend the North, and it wasn't. Well, I guess actually Kokonoe was first place, but
and
it was
second
Ragnar.
place. It was and second place. So apparently, grand finals is
Ragnar,
Kokonoe's
Kokonoe.
mirrors.
Yeah,
So because the character I'm actually most curious to see where she falls into is Nakamura CVS1.
Okay.
To me, Nako CVS1 might be the closest thing to that broken of a character in Street Fighter in my recent memory. Like comparing to Third Strike Chun, dude, CVS1 Nakamura was ridiculous. Like I would place her as a stronger character in her game than Chun in Third Strike.
Oh, okay.
You know, she was pretty broken. I mean, she didn't win all the majors or whatever like that, but that's just because a lot of people didn't play her. But towards the end, it was getting to that point where it was just like Nako here, Nako everywhere.
Right.
Because she had like all the mix-ups. It was pretty ridiculous, and everything was safe.
Somebody asked what was so great about the ST and HDR Akumas. In ST, I guess you can talk about HDR, but in ST, the angle of fireball just controls everything. Very few characters can deal with that kind of angle of fireball in ST. He has invincible kick buttons, for example. He cannot be stunned.
Yeah.
He deals a ton of damage.
His teleport was like super safe.
Teleport.
The interesting thing about the air fireball, people have to realize, is all Akuma air fireballs go at about a 45-degree angle. In ST, it went like this.
Yeah.
It went literally
It cut off the screen.
Yeah. So there were some characters who literally could not do anything to this move.
Oh, he also had infinite chip series in the corner.
He had a glitch where if you Kara canceled stand jab into the red fireball, which was 3 hits, he would recover earlier.
Right.
So you would just do that, recover, and then just throw another one, and you could just chip people in the corner to
They're
death.
dead.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything. You couldn't jump. None of their invincible... Like, there would be a little hole in between them, but if they had no super, like, none of their uppercuts or anything would reach, and it would just hit him, and you just do that forever until they died. So,
right.
Yeah,
So in HDR, the air fireball angle is not quite as crazy. It's still good.
Yeah, he can be dizzied now, I think.
He can be dizzied. I think some of his buttons are still invincible. Some of his kick buttons.
They did not fix any of those boxes because
Yeah.
they didn't... Because Serlin didn't know that the kick buttons, like for example for jumping roundhouse and stuff like that, that the hurt box had no hit box.
Yeah, there was no.
So basically his leg was invincible,
Yeah.
right? So they didn't tweak those, and so Akuma's still ridiculously
Yeah,
good in
and
that
his
game.
demon has some craziness to it. You can like combo into it, and there's like
Mm-hmm.
effectively unblockable situations with it.
Yeah, and to be fair, like our community about not banning things, in Japan, Akuma was never officially banned
true.
from tournaments. He was just soft banned. Basically, if you played him, no one would respect you. Everyone hated you. But they never officially got rid of him out of the tournaments, you know?
Right.
So,
But, I mean, getting back to modern times, I do think that it's a little bit different because of the considerations that we mentioned at the start of this segment. I think it's a little bit different now.
did I get that backwards? Did I say no hurt box and only a hit box, or did I say no hit box and only a hurt box?
I think you said like no hurt box in his hitbox. It didn't really make any sense to me, but I got the point.
Oh yeah. So basically, his leg could kick you, but you couldn't hit his leg, so
Right.
he could like
He
beat
was invincible.
uppercuts and stuff. Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, I do think that it's a little bit different, but I guess I still have, the old prejudices against banning. It's just I don't know. I guess that's my issue. I think it'd be too bad if BBCP doesn't live that long, and if Kokonoe is the end of every tournament.
Yeah,
and,
it's really
it'd be
interesting.
too bad, but I don't know if I want to ban it.
Like I was more pro Let It Rock until you told me Fubar Duck's argument.
Yeah, right?
That's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
And I guess it does kind of fit in with what I said earlier too, is if people are watching it on stream, because a lot of people are talking about this game. PR Rog has talked about wanting to play it, and
Yeah.
and like if people are like, maybe I'll check this game out, and they watch and it's just Kokonoe killing everybody, and then grand top 8 is like 5 Kokonoes and like 3 character specialists. It could make the game last even shorter than 6 months.
Yeah.
It could die in like 3, right? So, thing is, I didn't know where Kokonoe stands. If she's HDR Akuma level,
That's what he said.
maybe, but I think we gotta let it rock for maybe 1 or 2 more majors, like at least through SCR. Let Kokonoe stay and see what happens,
Okay.
right? And because we'll have a lot of Blazblue players there, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
That'll be a good tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want to go to a break?
Yep, no
All right.
problem.
More Tuesday after this.